how did you get into squirreling?
You know, oof, I think I've been doing squirreling ever since I can remember. I mean, my first memory, it I was squirreling. I mean, it must have been the first time I was squirreling. My grandfather was a big-time squirreler. He took me out into the woods, and at the time I was a complete novice. I must have been 4 years old, so I didn't know any of the technique or poses or calls. But, he set me down there, and he just told me to hold my arm out like this. And all of a sudden, this tiny little creature, little squirrel, and she comes jumping towards me like this. And she jumps into my hand. And our faces meet. And in that moment, it's like the feeling that a lot of people have described to me about, when they're walking through the woods and they look up through the canopy of the forest and they feel the shining rays of the sun upon them. And it reminds you of just how big the universe really is and how significant you really are. And that moment, that's what squirreling really is. It's sharing a moment with another creature.
How often do you go squirreling?
How often do I go squirreling? Every day. First thing in the morning, I wake up, I think around 5. I mean, I don't set an alarm, I just kind of let it just open. And then I put my squirreling boots on and I'm out. And in the squirreling community, there's really two schools of thought. There's layers and strayers. And basically, some people believe that you should pick one spot and you lay down, and of course you pick a spot where squirrels are wont to go, and then you wait for the squirrels to come to you. And other people, they go walk around and they try to find the squirrels first, and then they kind of set up. Personally, I mean, I wouldn't say that one is better than the other. I like doing both. It all just depends on, a lot of things. The season, where you are, altitude, and, including how you feel that day. A lot of beginning squirrelers, when they're first starting off, they're often met with an aggressive reaction from the squirrels. And what this looks like basically is they flick their tail at you. It's kind of like this. This scares a lot of beginners, and they think that this is when it's a sign that they should back off. But this is actually when you need to turn it up. If a squirrel starts doing this to you, you do it right back at him. A squirrel isn't stupid. He knows you're not another squirrel. So he knows that you're not trying to compete with him. When you show that squirrel, when you mirror his sign of aggression, it shows that you're not going to back down. And this can actually often be the start of a very good squirreling experience. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things involved in being a successful squirreler, but the secret to successful squirreling is in the calls. And this is one of the most difficult things for beginners to master because there's dozens of them. I think my grandfather must have known 100. I can show you the 3 basic ones that we teach beginners that are relatively easy to master and still quite effective. And the first one, it's called Thoreau for historical reasons. You may know Henry Thoreau, the famous squirreler, and it sounds something like this. And it's important to remember when you're doing this, it's not like you're calling a dog or a cat. It's not like, and it's not kissy either, like. And then once they've mastered this, there's a variation on this. So basically what you want to do is you want to squeeze your vocal folds together as close as they go and just let out a sliver of air. But it sounds kind of like this. And this is one of the most effective. It's difficult, but people use it because it's effective. Yeah, I think we already have a exciting young upcoming generation of squirrelers that are getting into it and really revolutionizing things and doing things that, I never could have done at such a young age. Squirreling is just like any other craft. It's just like playing piano, programming, coding. If you want to do something, that's worthwhile like squirreling, you just put the time in. And that's motivation is really the biggest determining factor of your success. It's not inborn skill or any of this. It's how much work you put into it and how much you want to put that work in. I would highly recommend anyone to get into squirreling. It keeps you fit, it keeps your mind sharp, and it can be a spiritual experience similar to like yoga or meditation. So if you're looking for a fulfilling craft to develop, a way to find a more fulfilling life, I think squirreling would be my #1 recommendation.